The Redbirds' right-handed stopper will again be irrepressible Joaquin Andújar.
Joaquin Andújar was one player who was feared by many. The Dominican right-hander became the first from his country to claim a World Series win as a starting pitcher. But his legendary temper led to a notorious World Series ejection that forever cast a shadow over the four-time All-Star's career. Before we proceed any further, please subscribe to the channel. The World Series ejection that shook the world. In 1985, Andújar was the Cardinals' opening day starter and quickly became one of the season's most dominant pitchers. He rocketed to a 12-1 record, keeping the Cardinals competitive in a fierce NL East battle with the young and hungry New York Mets. Andújar even graced the cover of The Sporting News alongside his close friend and fellow Dominican, Reds ace Mario Soto. Both pitchers had fiery reputations and had been involved in multiple bench-clearing brawls in recent years. Andújar's intensity was well known, and he led the league in hit batters for the second year in a row. The Cardinals finished the season with an impressive 101-61 record, winning the NL East and defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers in 6 games to claim the NL pennant. However, Andújar struggled in the postseason. In Game 3 of the World Series against the Kansas City Royals, he was hit hard, marking what would be his last start in a Cardinals uniform. The Cardinals came agonizingly close to winning their second World Series in 4 years, but things fell apart in Game 6. A controversial call by first base umpire Don Denkinger in the 9th inning allowed the Royals to stage a comeback, costing St. Louis the game. By Game 7, the Cardinals were trailing 9-0 in the 4th inning, and manager Whitey Herzog called on Andújar, who hadn't been chosen to start, to pitch in relief. Andújar struggled on the mound, giving up a single and a walk. That walk was the tipping point. Frustration boiling over, Andújar lost his temper, charged at Denkinger, and bumped him. He was immediately ejected from the game. Furious, Andújar stormed off the field, but his anger didn't end there. In the visitors' clubhouse at Royal Stadium, he took a bat and smashed a toilet and sink in a fit of rage. As a result of his actions toward Denkinger and the damage he caused, Andújar was fined $500, the maximum allowed at the time, and suspended for the first 10 games of the next regular season. He was also required to pay for the damages he caused in the clubhouse, bringing an explosive end to his time with the Cardinals. This wasn't the only scandal. The use of cocaine and constant injuries halted his soaring career. In 1986, baseball commissioner Peter Ueberroth took a hard stance against drug use in the sport, issuing season-long suspensions to several players. Among them was Andújar, who, according to police reports, had allegedly supplied drugs to his then Cardinals teammate Lonnie Smith back in 1982. Andújar, along with 6 others, including Smith, who had openly admitted to using cocaine during the Pittsburgh drug trials, faced the harsh penalties. However, the suspensions were eventually softened. Instead of missing the season, the players were required to make donations to anti-drug programs and complete community service, a move that aimed to help both the sport and the players involved move forward. 1971 was a challenging year for him because of real road trips and language barrier. Against all odds, Andújar showed his resilience, winning 7 of his first 8 decisions despite facing challenges. He was on a roll before an ankle injury slowed him down, leaving him with a final record of 7-6. Even when limping through the season, Andújar's competitive spirit never wavered. In 1982, one of his most memorable moments came on a cold night, with him being the only player brave enough to wear short sleeves. He was pitching against the highest-scoring team in 2 decades and carried a shutout into the 7th inning. That evening, Andújar's courage was on full display, but his game came to an abrupt halt when Ted Simmons hit a scorching one-hopper that ricocheted off his right knee and into foul territory. Andújar fell to the ground, writhing in pain and screaming in obvious agony. Still, despite being injured, he became the first pitcher from the Dominican Republic to win a World Series game when reliever Bruce Sutter came in to secure the final outs. In 1987, Andújar's struggles continued. He arrived late to spring training, which wasn't out of the ordinary for him, but on his first day of drills, he injured himself by going all out. The following year, he took a significant pay cut to return to the Houston Astros in 1988, hoping for a fresh start. Unfortunately, the season was riddled with more setbacks. He suffered a pulled muscle in his side and had to undergo knee surgery in April, further hampering his performance. Despite his injuries, Andújar wasn't ready to give up. In 1993, he attempted a comeback, pitching for the Estrellas in the Dominican Winter League. His determination attracted interest from several teams, but fate intervened once again. Knee problems and a freak car accident ended his hopes of returning to the majors. After only 2 starts, Andújar realized it was time to hang up his cleats for good, bringing an end to his colorful and dramatic career.
Hard thrower, Andújar, been clocked up to 94 miles an hour, tough slider, fork ball on occasion.
His early years were very difficult, and he truly stood strong against all the odds. However, growing up in poverty meant Andújar and his friends didn't have proper equipment. "We didn't have good gloves, decent bats, or cleats," Andújar remembered. "Everybody was very poor." They improvised using what they could find to play. Sometimes they made rag balls by wrapping fabric together, or they would buy cheap rubber balls and play in the streets. It was a humble start for Andújar, but his love for the game and his determination to succeed helped shape his future as one of the Dominican Republic's most famous baseball stars. Andújar's baseball journey truly began in 1969, when he signed with the Cincinnati Reds just 1 month before his 17th birthday. It was a dream come true for the young Dominican, who had grown up playing baseball in the streets with makeshift equipment. Over the next 6 seasons, Andújar worked his way through the Reds farm system, learning and growing as a pitcher. During that time, he posted a 33-41 record and had a 4.33 earned run average. Solid but not spectacular numbers that reflected the ups and downs of a young pitcher finding his way. Despite his potential, Andújar's time with the Reds organization never quite took off, and after the 1975 season, the team decided to trade him to the Houston Astros. It was a fresh start for Andújar, offering him a new opportunity to showcase his talent at the major league level. The ups and downs with the Astros highlighted his hardships. Andújar made his MLB debut in 1976 with the Houston Astros against his former team, the Cincinnati Reds. After starting in the bullpen, he moved into the rotation by mid-season and ended his rookie year with a solid 9-10 record and a 3.60 ERA. The following year, he continued to impress, earning an All-Star nod despite missing the game due to injury. In 1979, Andújar alternated between the bullpen and starting rotation, highlighted by 4 consecutive complete game victories and an inside-the-park home run in a thrilling 2-1 win against the Montreal Expos. By 1980, despite personal struggles, Andújar contributed to the Astros' postseason success, becoming the first player in team history to record a postseason save. Andújar's career hit its peak in 1982 when he joined the St. Louis Cardinals. After a rocky start, he went on a 7-game winning streak, leading the Cardinals to a division title. He heroically returned from injury to pitch in Game 7 of the World Series, securing a championship despite intense pain and controversy on the field. Though he expected the MVP, it went to Darryl Porter. After a disappointing 1985 World Series, Andújar was traded to the Oakland Athletics. He had a solid 1986 season, but struggled with injuries the following year, ultimately winding down his career with stints back in Houston and the Senior Professional Baseball Association. Andújar officially retired after a brief comeback attempt with the Montreal Expos. He was inducted into the Caribbean Baseball Hall of Fame in 2012 and passed away in 2015 due to complications from diabetes, leaving behind a legacy of passion and determination. If you enjoyed this recap, check out our channel, Baseball Icons, and let us know who you'd like us to cover next. Don't forget to subscribe.